My fork stopped halfway to my mouth. Sunday dinner at Mom's house. The whole family was there. Mom, Dad, my sister Lauren, her husband Derek, my aunt and uncle. Lauren had been talking for 20 minutes about finally unloading that money pit in the mountains, and how the sale would fund their Bali vacation and kitchen remodel. I looked down at my phone. The email was from Sierra Peak Escrow. Subject line: Urgent, ownership verification required, 1247 Timberline Road. That was my cabin. The one I'd bought 4 years ago with my inheritance from Grandma Ruth. The one I'd spent weekends renovating myself. Stripping floors, replacing the deck, installing new windows. The one with my name on the deed, in the county records, in the title insurance policy I renewed every year. What buyers? I said quietly. Lauren didn't even look at me. The Hendersons. From Seattle. Cash offer, no contingencies. They're already planning to expand the deck. My deck. The one I'd built with my own hands over 3 weekends last summer. When did you list it? My voice was steady. Years of practice. 6 weeks ago. She took a sip of wine. Derek's buddy is a realtor. Got us full asking price in 12 days. Mom reached over and squeezed Lauren's hand. I'm so proud of you for being practical. That place was just sitting there and used. I'd been there 2 weekends ago. Had coffee on that deck I built. Watched the sunrise over the ridge. My phone buzzed. A call. I looked at the screen. Melissa Chin, Sierra Peak Escrow. Melissa. My college roommate for 3 years. The person who'd helped me study for my economics final, who'd been my maid of honor, who I hadn't talked to in 6 months because life gets busy. I stood up from the table. Excuse me. I walked into the hallway, the dinner conversation continuing behind me. Clicked answer. Melissa. Jamie. Her voice was careful, professional. I need to ask you something directly. Did you authorize the sale of 1247 Timberline Road? No. Pause. The sound of papers shuffling. The listing shows Lauren Winters as the seller. She provided a power of attorney document giving her authority to act on your behalf. It's dated 6 months ago and notarized. My hands went cold. I never signed a power of attorney. I thought so. Another pause. When I saw the file cross my desk this morning, your name jumped out. I pulled the county records. Deed is solely in your name. No co-owners, no liens. I called the notary listed on the power of attorney. She doesn't remember notarizing any document for Lauren Winters. Said she'd been on medical leave 6 months ago. Behind me I could hear Lauren laughing. The Hendersons are thrilled. They're bringing their kids up next weekend to measure for bunk beds. Melissa's voice went quiet. Jamie, this is fraud. Document forgery. I've suspended the transaction. The earnest money is in escrow. $89,000. Nothing can be released without verification from the actual property owner. That's you. I leaned against the wall. The gambler's fallacy, I thought. I'd been playing it for years with my family. Keep showing up to Sunday dinner, keep being responsible, keep proving I'm an adult. Eventually they'll treat me like one. Eventually they'll stop seeing me as the younger sister who needs managing. But they didn't want me to succeed. They wanted me to seem helpless. Because helpless meant available. Helpless meant my cabin, my investment, my sanctuary, could become their vacation fund. What do I need to do? I asked. Come to my office tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. Bring your ID and the original deed. I'll have the documentation ready for you to file a formal complaint. The buyers need to be notified. This sale cannot proceed. I walked back to the dining room. Everyone was eating dessert now. Mom's famous apple pie. Lauren was showing Dad something on her phone. Probably paint colors for that kitchen remodel she'd been planning with money from selling my property. I sat down. Picked up my water glass. The crystal caught the light from the chandelier. The sale isn't happening, I said. Lauren looked up. What? The cabin sale. It's been suspended. The escrow company flagged it as fraudulent. The table went silent. That specific kind of silence where everyone stops chewing at once. Derek spoke first. That's impossible. We signed all the paperwork. You signed paperwork for a property you don't own, I said. Using a forged power of attorney with a fake notary signature. Mom's face did something complicated. Jamie, don't be dramatic. Lauren was helping you. That cabin is too much for you to manage alone. I never asked for help. And I never signed any power of attorney. Lauren's fork clattered against her plate. You're being ridiculous. It's just sitting there. It's my property. I was there 2 weeks ago. You barely use it. That doesn't make it yours to sell. Dad cleared his throat. Now let's all calm down. This is obviously a miscommunication. Lauren thought she could forge documents and steal $890,000. I looked at my sister. Her face had gone pale. The escrow officer called me personally. Melissa Chen. You might remember her, she was at my wedding. She pulled the county records. Contacted the notary. The one who was on medical leave when this power of attorney was supposedly signed. Uncle Tom, who'd been quiet this whole time, set down his fork. Wait. The notary was on medical leave. For 3 months. Never notarized any document. Aunt Marie pulled out her phone. Started typing. She was a paralegal. Knew exactly what she was looking for. Lauren's voice cracked. I was trying to help. You never have time for that place anymore, and you needed my $890,000. It would have been split with the family. No, it wouldn't have. I pulled up my email. Showed the listing description Melissa had forwarded me. The seller is listed as Lauren Winters, sole owner. No mention of me. The proceeds were going to an account in your name. Derek stood up abruptly. This is ridiculous. We had buyers. A contract. Everything was legal. Except the part where you forged legal documents to sell property you don't own. Aunt Marie looked up from her phone. Her face was grim. Document forgery in a real estate transaction. That's serious. That's not a civil matter. That's criminal fraud. Mom made a small sound. Criminal? No, this is family. This is felony fraud, Linda. Uncle Tom's voice was flat. Real estate fraud. Forging notary documents. Identity theft. This isn't borrowing $20. I watched my sister's face. The calculation happening behind her eyes. The same calculation I'd seen hundreds of times growing up. How much can I get away with? What's the minimum consequence I'll face? The earnest money, Lauren whispered. The buyers paid $89,000 in earnest money. Which is currently frozen in escrow, I said. And will be returned to them with their attorney's fees paid by whoever committed the fraud. Derek grabbed his jacket. We're leaving. You're going to need a lawyer, Aunt Marie said quietly. This isn't going away. They left. The door slammed. Mom sat at the table crying softly. Dad looked at his plate. I stood up. I have an appointment at the escrow office tomorrow morning. I'll be filing a formal complaint. The buyers need to be notified that they were part of a fraudulent transaction. The real estate agent who listed the property needs to be reported to the licensing board. And I need to file a police report for document forgery. Jamie, please. Mom's voice was small. She's your sister. She tried to steal $890,000 from me, Mom. Using forged documents. Lying to buyers. That's not sister behavior. That's criminal behavior. I picked up my purse. Uncle Tom stood up. I'll go with you tomorrow, he said. You'll need a witness. And probably an attorney. I have an attorney, I said. Called her from the hallway. Because that's what adults do. They protect their assets. They document everything. They don't assume family means safety. The next morning, Melissa's office smelled like coffee and fresh paper. She had everything ready. Transaction files, county records, the forged power of attorney document, correspondence with the notary, the buyer's contract. The Hendersons are devastated, she said. They had their whole retirement planned around this property. But when I explained the situation, they understood. They're filing their own complaint against the listing agent. Uncle Tom sat next to me reading through the documents. The notary's signature doesn't even match the state database. They didn't even try to make it look real. They thought no one would check, I said. They thought I wouldn't find out until after closing. Maybe not even then. Melissa slid a form across the desk. This formally withdraws the property from sale and notifies all parties that the transaction was fraudulent. Once you sign this, I'll file it with the county and notify the title company. The earnest money will be returned to the Hendersons within 5 business days. I signed it. My hand was steady. There's more, Melissa said carefully. When I pulled the full transaction history, I found something. Your sister listed the property for $890,000. But the appraisal came back at $1.2 million. She priced it low for a quick sale. She was willing to lose $310,000 of my money for speed. For that Bali vacation and kitchen remodel. Uncle Tom made a sound. She underpriced it by a third. The listing agent probably knew, Melissa said. Quick sales mean quick commissions. I've reported him to the state licensing board. They'll investigate. I walked out of that office with copies of everything. Fraud report filed. Police report filed. Attorney retained. Property removed from sale. Every I dotted, every T crossed. That's the thing about systems. They work if you use them correctly. 3 weeks later, the consequences rolled in like a tide. The real estate agent lost his license. Suspended pending investigation, then revoked. 10 other transactions flagged for review. Turned out my sister's sale wasn't his first suspicious listing. The buyers, the Hendersons, got their earnest money back plus $15,000 in attorney's fees, paid by Lauren and Derek's homeowner's insurance after the insurance company investigated the fraud claim. Lauren and Derek had to hire a criminal defense attorney. $25,000 retainer. Document forgery, attempted real estate fraud, identity theft. The DA was reviewing whether to press charges. Their bank accounts were frozen pending investigation. The $12,000 they'd already spent from their pre-sale planning fund, the one they'd opened in anticipation of my money, had to be repaid immediately. Their kitchen remodel, cancelled. Contractors demanded payment for work already done. Lauren had to sell her car to cover it. The Bali vacation, cancelled. Flights were non-refundable. Mom called me twice a week. Please drop the complaint. She's your sister. She made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting a birthday. This was systematic fraud. Dad sent emails. Think of the family. Think of Derek's career. Derek's career in real estate development. The one that was now under review by his professional board because his wife had committed real estate fraud. I didn't respond to most of them. When I did, I kept it simple. She tried to steal $890,000 from me using forged documents. That has consequences. For months after that Sunday dinner, I drove up to my cabin. The one I still owned. The one with my name on the deed. I sat on the deck I'd built. Watched the sun rise over the ridge. Drank my coffee from the mug I kept in the kitchen cabinet. My phone buzzed. A text from Melissa. Coffee next week? I miss actually talking to you when it's not about fraud. I smiled. Typed back. Thursday at 10? Another text came in. Uncle Tom, lunch this Sunday? Marie wants to see your cabin. She's never been. The people who made me feel like I couldn't handle my own property were currently scrambling to handle their own legal fees. They'd sold their house, forced to downsize to cover attorney costs. They weren't invited to family gatherings anymore. Even Mom had stopped defending them after the DA filed formal charges. Meanwhile, I'd gotten the cabin reappraised. $1.3 million now. The market had gone up. I'd also gotten a promotion at work. Turns out, the confidence that comes from defending yourself against fraud looks a lot like leadership. My savings account had grown by $45,000 since I stopped going to Sunday dinners and spending money trying to prove I was responsible enough for them to respect. That money bought me a new roof for the cabin. Solar panels. A whole house generator. Lauren sent me an email last week. Subject line, I'm sorry. I didn't open it. Because I've learned something important about family. Real family doesn't steal from you. Real family doesn't forge documents with your name on them. Real family doesn't price your property $310,000 below market value because they want fast money. Real family shows up with coffee when you're handling fraud paperwork. Real family offers to testify if you need them. Real family says this is wrong when wrong is happening. I have that family now. Melissa, Uncle Tom, Aunt Marie. The Hendersons we stayed in touch. They found another mountain property and invited me to their housewarming. The people who shared my blood are strangers now. Legal strangers, since I filed a restraining order after Lauren showed up at my office trying to talk. I get mail from the court sometimes. Updates on the criminal case. Lauren took a plea deal. 2 years probation. $89,000 in restitution to the Hendersons. Community service. Fraud conviction on her permanent record. She'll never work in real estate. Derek's company let him go. Something about ethical liability. I feel something about that. Not quite satisfaction. Not quite sadness. Maybe just completion. The way you feel when you finish building a deck. When all the boards are level and the nails are driven true and you can stand on it knowing it will hold. My cabin holds. My boundaries hold. My savings account grows. My career grows. My real family, the chosen one, grows. And somewhere in a small apartment they can barely afford, my sister and her husband are learning what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. When you mistake quiet for stupid. When you mistake family for opportunity. They wanted $890,000 from me. They got exactly what they paid for. Nothing plus consequences. I'm having coffee with Melissa Thursday. Lunch with Uncle Tom and Aunt Marie on Sunday. And next weekend, I'm bringing the Hendersons up to my cabin to show them the new solar panels. The cabin they almost bought through fraud. The cabin that's still mine. All of it's still mine.